Okay, um, I was gonna wait till tomorrow to do this article that I found, but I read that the parents will be in court tomorrow. So I wanted to go and do this tonight because tomorrow I'm gonna try to find a live feed or whatever coverage. What's going on? The first thing I want to do though, since there is an Amber Alert out, is to cover this Amber Alert real quick. This is 13-year-old Evan McConey. He went missing today from Layton, Utah. He is a white male with brown hair and brown eyes. He stands 5'4", weighing about 110 pounds. He was last seen wearing a black windbreaker with a hood, a white t-shirt, and blue and yellow bunny skull and bones logo. Okay, blue and yellow bunny skull and bones logo. Blue and gray sweatpants, black Vans shoes with yellow Cobra Kai emblem, olive drab beanie with same logo as shirt. Says the 13-year-old child communicated with adult suspect via internet and left his home to meet late Monday night. Suspect and victim may be en route to Arizona or Texas. Suspect and victim are not related. So this is definitely going to be like a grooming situation, which is going to be extremely dangerous. They have this photo of the suspect, white male, 25 years old, and that's about all the information that they have on him. They don't have a vehicle description or even a name. Let me blow this up some so everybody can see it real good. I also have this posted on my community wall with both the picture of the young man and this suspected abductor. Again, they believe that they may be headed to Arizona or Texas. And please remember that they are not related. So this is not some type of parental, I want my kid. This is a child in serious danger of being trafficked, harmed, abused, even unalived. So let me show Evan's picture again. And it looks like he has a like an olive skin tone to me. He has a little tanned kind of look to him. So it could be possible to mistake him as Latino or Hispanic if you see him. If what I'm seeing is that olive skin tone, that's what it looks like to me. So, if you have any information, of course, you can call 911, or you can call the Layton Police Department at 801-497-8300. This is also posted on my community wall, as I said before. So if you want to go and take a look at it, get some more details or whatever, then it's there. Now to the business. I found this other article about Madalina, and I was going to cover it tomorrow, but like I said, they're supposed to be in court tomorrow, so I want to find coverage on that. And if there's a live feed, I want to do that instead. So tonight I'm going to go through this article. It has a lot more details. It has a lot of pictures, stuff that I didn't see or read in the other articles that we went through and the videos that I've watched. So let me get that up on the screen for you. And of course, this is from the Daily Mail. I love the Daily Mail because they get the goods. I'm sorry, they do. They're pretty much a tabloid or whatever, but they do get the goods. They get the good information, the details. They talk to people. They find people in the woodworks. So I'm good with the Daily Mail's coverage. So exclusive. Family of missing Madalina Cojocari, 11 lit a fire that burned for days, torching couch cushions and other items in their backyard after the North Carolina girl vanished. But 2 weeks before, they reported her disappearance. Neighbors reported seeing flames and smoke billowing from the backyard of Madalina Cojocari's family home in Cornelius, North Carolina, in late November. The family allegedly lit a fire to torch couch cushions and other items in the days after Madalina 11 disappeared, but only reported her missing 2 weeks later. Reached by DailyMail.com late Wednesday, Cornelius Fire Chief Guerry Barbee, that's the odd spelling of Guerry. Guerry Barbee confirmed there was a blaze but refused to discuss specifics. The young girl was last seen getting off a school bus on November 21, but her mother, Diana Cojocari, reported her missing on December 2015. I want to share this a different way, so hold on a second. Let me. Because I shared the window and I don't want to share the window. I want to share the tab. Okay, much better. All right, and the article reads: the family of 11-year-old Madalina Cojocari was seen lighting a fire and torching couch cushions and other items that burned for days in their backyard in the days after she disappeared, but weeks before she was reported missing. Neighbors recalled seeing flames. Neighbors recalled seeing flames and smoke billowing from the backyard of the Victoria Bay Drive home in late November, prompting calls to police and the fire department in Cornelius, North Carolina. Reached by the DailyMail.com Wednesday, Cornelius Fire Chief Guerry Barbee acknowledged the blaze but refused to discuss specifics. And here we have another beautiful picture of Madalina. She's such a pretty girl. Look at those rosy cheeks. Just enjoying life, having a Sunday. And here are the monster and step monster. Um, Police Chief Guerry said, I can't speak on that now because of the investigation. It wasn't until December 15, 2 weeks after the fire, that the girl's mother, Diana Cojocari, reported her daughter missing. Police later searched the property for evidence, joined by FBI agents scouring the yard for debris. The neighbor who saw investigators searching the home earlier this week told DailyMail.com that they spent hours outside. They took all kinds of samples from the fire pit area, he said. I guess they were trying to figure out if they burned anything of substance there. It's a gross feeling to know something like this happened in your neighborhood, he added. It's very suspicious that the mother didn't report the girl missing for 2 weeks. Another neighbor told DailyMail.com that the fire wasn't such a big deal at the time because nobody knew the girl was missing. If you don't know the context that the girl was missing, it's kind of nothing. It's kind of a nothing burger of a call. He said at the time it was more of a fire safety or a permit type issue, which makes sense. And then there is the police report that we already went over. Let me see if this is anything extra. Okay. Yeah, it does have a little something extra here. Says, I, Detective Patterson, remember it just kind of left off on that one page. Um that one page when we went over it earlier. So here's some extra. It says, I, Detective Patterson, questioned Miss Diana Cojocari regarding her missing daughter. She explained that she believed her husband put her family in danger but did not know what happened to Madalina. She stated that she contacted her family in Moldova, who advised she contact the police and still hesitated to call. Diana stated Madalina did not have a phone. Madalina's backpack and some clothes were missing from the residence. Diana stated Madalina did not have any friends she would stay with, and they have no family around due to Diana being from Moldova. Detective Nichols and I went to blank, and I'm assuming that's the address to the house, to search Madalina's room. Miss Cojocari and Mr. Palmer were adamant that they did not know where Madalina could be. While in the residence, I noticed an area blocked with plywood off the kitchen. Detective Nichols asked about the area, and Mr. Palmer stated that they had planned to make it a separate apartment. Due to the circumstances surrounding the absence of Madalina Cojocari and the 3 week delay reporting Madalina missing, I believe there is probable cause for an arrest. Okay, so oh, sidetrack, but let me say this real quick. This guy here, the guy that they call the neck guy, right here, he's from my hometown. My daughter actually knows him. She said he is such a nice person. He's like internet famous for like constantly getting arrested for stuff, and he had that. And he, I forgot what that condition is called with his neck that makes it so big. But yeah, he got internet famous off that for a while. Um, apparently he's back in the news. Diana Cojocari, 37, and Madalina's stepfather, Christopher Palmer, 60, were arrested over the weekend and charged with failure to report a missing child. Let's pause right there. She is not from here. She is from Moldova. I think that's spelled wrong right there. Moldova. I think it's Moldova. Um, she's not from here. And there's a significant age difference between the two of them. I noticed that earlier when I was going over the story that there's this like huge age gap, but I was just like, it could be nothing. But finding out that she is not even from this country kind of puts that in a different light because you know, guys get the I don't know what it's called now, but it used to be called mail order brides, where they marry foreign women and bring them over here instead of marrying American women. And I actually know a couple of Filipino women who kind of had that going on. They married American men and came over here. And it's anyway, that's a whole other fish. But yeah, that might actually play into this. So if it's that kind of a mail order bride situation, and she came with a kid, and just from what I saw in those types of situations, it's not always some like, oh, we're in love type thing. Because a couple of the Filipino women that I knew who were in a situation like that, it's like the guys married them and brought them over here to take care of them because the women will work and then the guy doesn't. Sometimes the guy just has like a lot of money, but like the couple that I'm thinking of, the couple of Filipino women that I know who were kind of in this type of relationship, they were working like 2 and 3 jobs while the guy was just sitting at the house. And so I have to wonder if maybe which situation this is. Is he a rich guy who's taking care of her, or did he bring her over here and he's putting her to work, kind of keeping her under thumb? I actually had a neighbor who was in that type of situation and it was not pretty. His quote unquote wife acted more like a slave. Um, so I don't know. But yeah, I noticed that age difference earlier, and finding out that she's from a different country could possibly put this whole case in a different light. Maybe he married her, didn't really want the kid, or other things that I don't want to speak out into existence. All right, Diana Cojocari, 37, and Madalina's stepfather, Christopher Palmiter, 60, were arrested over the weekend and charged with failure to report a missing child. Madalina was last seen on November 21st getting off the school bus and vanished on November 23rd. In my opinion, November 24th, when Palmiter took his road trip. On the day of her disappearance, her mother argued with her husband, who in anger took off to Michigan that evening. So he left in an angry rage. 3 days later, on November 26th, Palmiter returned home to North Carolina, and Cojocari told him that the young girl was missing from the house in Cornelius, a town just north of Charlotte. And then, too, now if that's that type of situation, that whole mail order bride thing, she might not have called the police because of fear. I don't know what the police or the political or everyday situation is in Moldova, where she's from, but in a lot of other places, you just don't call the police. You don't, because the police are just as crooked. So it could possibly, that might play into this a little bit. I'm just kind of looking at all options, kind of throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. On the day of her disappearance, her mother had argued with her husband, who in anger took off to Michigan that evening. 3 days later, okay, we just read that part. But she did report the little girl's disappearance. She did not report the little girl's disappearance until nearly 3 weeks later on December 15th, because she feared Paul Miter's reaction. There it is. Right there in the article, confirmation. She was in fear of him, which is why she didn't call. So maybe I might have to ease up off the mom a little bit. I don't know. For the time being, I'm going to not really try to form an opinion about her. So here's Madalina's missing person flyer. And let's see. Police investigating the case noted that the kitchen in the family home had an area blocked with plywood, Queen City News reported. Palmiter said he had been building a separate apartment. Palmiter told police he last saw Madalina a week before she disappeared. Okay, so let's do some math. She disappeared on supposedly November the 23rd. So he said the last time he saw her was November 16th, which was before she was last seen on film getting off the school bus. How do you live in the house with people and not see them? I mean, even if it's a big house, how do you live in a house and not see the other people who live in the house just in the normal course of walking around, going to the bathroom, in and out of the kitchen, doing laundry or something, or going out the front door? You sitting in the den watching TV. How do you not see other household members? So I have a hard time believing that he didn't see the little girl for a week. Now, there could be other things going on. We have seen where children have been basically held hostage in rooms, only let out for, like, this little girl's going to school. Maybe she was locked in her room all the time when she was at home and only came out to go to school. I don't know. It's a possibility. I mean, we've seen much worse. Maybe he didn't like the kid and he didn't allow her to be around him. I don't know. I don't know. But I still find it very hard to believe that he didn't see her for a whole week before she disappeared. So he is basically saying that he didn't see her for 7, 8, 9 days by the time they reported her to the police as missing. I'm not buying it. Cojocari said that Madalina's backpack and some of her clothes were missing from the home. She told police the young girl did not have any friends that she would stay with, and being from Moldova, the former Soviet republic in Eastern Europe, she did not have any family in the area. Okay, so we know she didn't run away to hang out with her cousins, or she doesn't really have any friends by her being relatively new here, so she's not hanging out with a best friend. She's not hiding out at a schoolmate's house. It's unclear how long. I wonder. I wonder how well she even speaks English. I'd like to know how long they've been in the country. I mean, did she grow up here mainly and she speaks good English that she could get along, or did she mainly grow up over there and English is a second language and maybe she struggles with it here, which would put her in an even worse position to be missing. It's unclear how long Cojocari and her daughter have been living in the United States and when she married Paul Miter. Both Cojocari and Paul Miter were arrested and charged with failure to report a missing child. The FBI are now leading the search, and the spokesman said there's nothing we won't do to find her. You can see they're searching on boats and everything else. Let me zoom out a little. It says on Tuesday, FBI worked with Cornelius police to start searching the nearby lake. It's never good when they start searching bodies of water. Whenever I see that they're searching like bodies of water or they're digging up stuff, then I automatically assume that they have a strong suspicion that some major harm has befallen this child or this missing person. And there's the picture of her, still shot of her getting off the bus, taken from this video here that we watched earlier. You see her adjusting her hair, fixing her necklace. All right. As part of the normal investigative process, we are expanding our search area outside of the home where Madalina was last seen, and that now includes Lake Cornelius, the police department said on Tuesday. Court officials said during her first court appearance on Tuesday that Cojocari had, quote, hindered the investigation, unquote, so far. So she is not helping them. And if they're saying she hindered it, then she is probably actively throwing up some roadblocks. They said she only begrudgingly reported her daughter's disappearance to the police. So she didn't even really want to report her missing. I guess it just came down to the wire. You know, the kid's missing. They haven't seen her at school. The school's asking questions. She's made this outrageous promise that she's going to come to the school with the kid, and then she shows up without the kid. And so now you got to report her missing because questions need to be answered. Despite a number of calls from her school in the following weeks, no one notified that Madeline was missing. On December 12th, so the school has been getting in touch with them, and they have apparently been either avoiding them or playing phone tag or giving some kind of excuse for why she's not in school. On December 12th, a school resource officer at Bailey Middle School went to the Cojocari home with a counselor. There was no answer at the door, so they left a truancy packet. So no answer at the door. The officer and a counselor went out there, and there was probably someone home and just didn't answer the door. So now we're playing tag. On December 14th, Cojocari called the school counselor and told her that she would bring Madalina to the school the next day. At that meeting, Cojocari told the resource officer that Madalina had in fact been missing for weeks and was last seen entering her room to go to bed around 10 p.m. on November 23rd. I last saw her fully dressed at night with clothes on, going to bed with shoes on. Here we go again. Fully dressed with shoes on. Cojocari also told the school officials that she and her husband argued that night, causing him to drive to his family home in Michigan to collect his belongings. What kind of argument could prompt him to drive to Michigan? I think Sherry said it's a 12-hour drive from where they are to Michigan. What could they have argued about that would have made him take a 12-hour drive to go get something, his belongings, his possessions? What kind of possessions would be that important that you need to jump up and drive 12 hours to go get them after an argument? And the way it's being said is like the trip was based on whatever the argument was about. I keep trying to think of what could I possibly argue with my husband about that would make him have to go get something that he owned that wasn't in the home. What did he have somewhere else? Let me check something real quick because I'm not sure if my audio, yeah, is working. All right, audio is working. I don't see the little thing around my little icon, so I didn't know if it was working, if the mic was working. All right. So it was 11:30 a.m. on November 24th that Cojocari says went to check on Madalina. They leaving out words. This is making it kind of weird to read. It was at 11:30 a.m. November 24th that Cojocari says she went to check on Madalina to find she was no longer in her bedroom. So she disappeared overnight, fully dressed with shoes on. And she was magically not there the next day, which is the same day that the stepdad decided he had to make an urgent road trip 12 hours long to get something he owned. Okay. When Palmiter returned at 7 p.m. on November 26, Cojocari told police she asked if he knew where Madalina was and that he told her he did not. I'm kind of starting to see this stuff in like from another light because of her being a foreign bride and like these these actions that she's taking or not taking just don't really, they're not making sense, and maybe the reason they're not making sense is because of the dynamics, restraints, or constraints of the relationship that she has with Paul Miner. Maybe didn't even have a phone available to her to call him to ask, "Do you know where she is?" And she had to wait until he came back to the house. We don't even know if she's even allowed to leave the house on a regular basis without him. Because I know, like that neighbor that I was telling you about that had a mail order bride, I never, ever, 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 ever saw her or her daughter leave that apartment except with him. And they always had these looks like waiting for him to direct them or, hey, if you can hear me, put a one in the chat, please. Um, but it was kind of like they were under thumb, like they needed permission to move, permission to walk out the door, permission to get in the car. They were always kind of looking askance at him. And so maybe that's the type of situation that Diana Cojocari was in. There's so many more possibilities that are just opening up based on the information I'm seeing in this article, if this article is to be trusted. But of course, I kind of trust Daily Mail. They've been doing for a long time. Let's see. And another beautiful picture of Madalina. Now here we have, it says, as part of the normal investigative process, we are expanding our search to the area outside of the home where Madalina was last seen, and that now includes Lake Cornelius, the police department said. And we saw earlier the picture of the boat. Now we're seeing them at the water's edge, boat in the background, rescue vehicles. So they're on an all-out search of the waters as well. And here's the house. It says investigators searched Madalina's family home where her mother claims she was last seen going to bed, fully dressed with clothes on, with shoes on. This picture kind of hit me really hard when I saw it at first. Investigators were seen digging up the front yard of her home, but did not reveal if anything of interest was found. Now that's kind of odd that they were digging up the front yard when the fire was in the backyard. I wonder what they may have been trying or thinking they might find in the front yard, as opposed to the backyard where the fire was. It would be odd if they found something in the front yard because front yards are wide open. People can see what you're doing in your front yard as opposed to the somewhat sheltered environment of a backyard. Hmm. So, here we go. After their arrest on December 17th, the two were held at the Mecklenburg County Detention Center. Police carried out a thorough search of their home and were seen digging up the front yard with shovels. It is not clear whether they found anything of interest. Paul Miter, who works as a mechanical designer at a machinery manufacturer, is being held on a $100,000 bond. Okay, so he has a foreign wife and he does have, that sounds like a pretty decent job. He probably makes a nice chunk of change, uh, probably upwards of $100,000 a year at least. So this may be a situation where she's just to be in the house and she doesn't have to work, but she's not really allowed to go anywhere. Or maybe she's allowed to go certain places. Like I said, throwing stuff up against the wall, seeing what sticks. On Tuesday, Diana Cojocari's bond was set at $250,000. Wow, two and a half times what his is. And a condition was set that if she makes bond, she will be placed under electronic monitoring. Both are currently held in the Mecklenburg County Jail in Charlotte. And I'm wondering if maybe they're looking harder at her or being harder on her, hoping that the pressure will get her to talk, to uh, give them some more information. Maybe they're looking at it like she was supposedly that Madalina was supposedly discovered missing while Paul Miter was not in the residence, and so they're looking at her as the primary suspect. But that doesn't fit to me. That doesn't sound right to me at all. Huh? Madalina is 4 feet 10 inches tall, has dark brown hair, and weighs about 90 pounds. She was last seen wearing jeans, pink, purple, and white Adidas shoes, and a white t shirt and jacket. Anyone with information is asked to call the Cornelius Police Department at 704-892-7773. Now, I did see some interesting comments on this. Here's one. If anyone taking more than 24 hours to report a child missing obviously harmed that child. Maybe the authorities don't know how long the mother has been living in the U.S. or how long for slash when she married Paul Miter. Could be could that be the reason why the child was not reported missing for 22 days? Originally from Moldova in the U.S. illegally? Question mark. And she actually married to Paul Miter? No record, no marriage. Surely, good questions. And here's somebody just straight up saying it. No doubt they killed her, burned the evidence 2 weeks prior to reporting her missing. That alone implies massive guilt. Let's see. I check other relationships where 37 and 60 are the ages, especially if the children, those are not compatible. Insurance companies use statistics. Police should too. All right. Here's another good one. I'm going to stop it after this one. So the stepfather claims he didn't see the child for a week before his trip. The mother was claiming the girl disappeared the night the stepfather left. If the stepfather did it and left town for 3 days, why did the mother not report it while he was gone? She would have been safe to do so. So she certainly was involved. I was thinking the stepfather was going to say mom did something while he was gone, but he negates that by saying he didn't see the child for a week by then. The only question is, did one of them do it and the other cover up? Or did both of them do it? Oh, and was the trip to Michigan to dispose of evidence along the way? Very good questions, very good observations, good points. I don't know. It's a whole lot of maybe, if, and, or in this case. But yeah, I just wanted to share this article because it had so many pictures and it had like other stuff that wasn't in the other articles and videos. It kind of gives you another perspective on what may or may not be going on in this situation. I do want to show this one more time. Just seeing her move, the way she moves, her kind of demeanor or whatever. Hopefully she is out there and can be found. Maybe somebody will spot her. Maybe she ran away. Hopefully it's just a runaway situation, but I don't feel that. I don't feel this being a runaway situation. I don't feel this girl leaving on her own, and I kind of don't feel her mom doing anything to her. I'm kind of sort of leaning toward mom being some sort of victim too. All right, well, I'm out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm going to try to find a live feed for the court appearance for uh, Mom Kojahari and stepdad Paul Miter. And if I can find that, we'll just watch it live together and discuss it afterward. See y'all later.